Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that's close to my heart, and I'm sure to yours too, especially if that expat life is calling your name. We're going to be talking all things life insurance, and to walk us through it, I've got a real financial guru in the house, someone who's passionate about helping expats like you make savvy financial choices. By the way, this episode is brought to you by Benefits for Expats Inc. as part of their client awareness campaign.
Glad to be here. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of moving abroad, but building a solid financial base is crucial, and that's where life insurance comes in.
Couldn't agree more. It's kind of like when you're heading out on a big trip, packing that first aid kit, right? You hope you won't need it, but if something unexpected pops up, boy, you're going to be thankful you've got it. So let's break it down, shall we? We always hear these terms thrown around: term life, whole life. What do they actually mean? Especially when we're talking about protecting our families and our finances.
Yeah. No, it's easy to get bogged down in the jargon for sure. Let's keep it nice and straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of it like looking for a place to live. Term life is like, renting an apartment. It covers you for a specific time, 10, 20, 30 years, something like that. And it's often easier on the wallet, which is great, especially for covering things like maybe your mortgage for a set period.
Right, so it's that safety net, but
Yeah.
just for a particular chapter of your life, yeah. What about whole life then? How's that fit in?
Whole life. That's more like buying a house that's there for the long haul. Provides that lifetime coverage however long you live. Plus, a lot of the time it comes with this cash value thing, almost like you're building equity. Definitely more of a long game strategy, often used for things like legacy planning or maybe leaving something for your loved ones.
Gotcha. So term life, our renter-friendly option, whole life for those putting down roots, at
Yep.
least metaphorically speaking, right?
Spot on. But just like picking the right house or apartment, finding the right life insurance, it all boils down to your own needs and circumstances, right? Especially as an expat.
And that's where things get really interesting, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Because being an expat throws in a whole bunch of unique things most people wouldn't even consider.
You said it. Those decisions you're making about life insurance while you're living abroad, they can have a ripple effect for years down the line. And it's not just about what kind of policy you get, but also, is your provider reliable? Do they have experience with expats? You want a company with a solid reputation, one that really gets the ins and outs of international coverage.
So it's like choosing a travel buddy. You want someone dependable who's been there, knows the ropes, right?
Right.
But even with the best travel partner, there are bound to be surprises along the way, like currency exchange rates. Talk about a wild ride.
Oh, tell me about it. And those rates, they can really mess with your life insurance premiums, even your payouts. Think about it. You've got your finances all mapped out, everything's looking good, then bam, the currency in your new country takes a nosedive compared to back home. Suddenly, those premiums feel a whole lot heavier, or that payout not worth as much when you convert it back.
Ouch, yeah, that's a great point. It's like that feeling you get when you realize how much those souvenirs actually cost after you factor in the exchange rate. Only with life insurance, the stakes are obviously a tad higher. So how do we deal with those fluctuating currencies? Anything we can do to minimize the risk?
Definitely some strategies to think about. One of the biggies is the currency you choose for your policy. Make sure it lines up with your long-term goals, right? Think about where you see yourself down the line, maybe where you'll retire, and what currency will give you that stability and benefit in the long run.
Makes sense. Thinking long term, like a chess master, planning their moves.
Hmm.
But hold on a sec, we can't forget about everyone's favorite topic, taxes. How do those play into this whole thing, especially with multiple countries and all the cross-border stuff?
Ah, taxes. Always gotta love them, right? It's true, though, as an expat, you're often dealing with tax laws in two, maybe even more countries, and that can get messy fast, so it's super important to know how your life insurance policy is going to be taxed, both where you're living now and potentially back home.
Sounds like a recipe for a major headache if you're not careful. So finding a provider who really knows their stuff about these cross-border tax implications is crucial, right? Someone who can guide you through that maze.
Absolutely. You want an expert in your corner who understands the ins and outs of expat life insurance, someone who can explain those complex tax implications in plain English and help you make informed decisions.
It's like finding that friend who speaks both languages, understands both cultures, and can help you avoid those awkward moments. Except in this case, we're talking about avoiding some pretty big financial blunders.
Exactly. And that's why these conversations are so crucial, right? To bring these often overlooked aspects to the forefront. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about the practicalities of choosing between term and whole life, especially for us expats. One way I like to frame it is by thinking about your expat journey. Are you on a shorter term adventure or are you looking to build a life abroad for the long haul?
Love that. It's like deciding, are you packing a suitcase or shipping a whole container overseas? So for those listeners who are on a bit of a shorter-term adventure, what are the things they should keep in mind when choosing between term and a whole life?
Okay, so say you're an expat, right? And you're on a 5-year assignment in a new country. You're probably renting, checking out the local scene, not necessarily looking to settle down permanently just yet. In this scenario, term life could be a really good fit. It gives you that coverage for a set amount of time, aligning perfectly with your time there.
Like getting travel insurance for a vacation peace of mind for that specific trip without breaking the bank. But in this case, instead of covering lost luggage, it's about protecting your family financially, right?
Right on. And because it's for a shorter time, those premiums are usually lower, which is always a good thing, especially when you're figuring out the cost of living abroad. It's all about matching your coverage to your life stage and financial goals right now.
Makes sense. So then what about expats who are in it for the long haul, maybe setting up roots in a new country? How does the whole term versus whole life thing work for them?
That's where whole life often comes in. Let's picture this. You're an expat entrepreneur building a business in a new country. You're putting down roots, investing in the future, thinking long term. In a situation like that, whole life insurance can be a powerful tool for creating that lasting financial security for your family.
It's like laying the groundwork for a really strong, well-built house. It takes a bit more investment up front, but it's built to last, built to protect.
That's it. You've got that lifelong coverage, so your beneficiaries are protected no matter what. And that cash value element, remember that. It's an extra layer of financial planning, like you said, building equity. Could be a big help for retirement planning or leaving an inheritance.
So we're not just talking about life insurance, really. We're talking about building a whole financial plan, something that fits with your expat life. Now, I bet some of our listeners are thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I know what's right for me? How do I actually choose?
The million-dollar question. Honestly, there's no magic formula, no one-size-fits-all answer. It really boils down to what your situation is, what your goals are, what your vision is for your life abroad.
Like choosing between a nippy little city car or a spacious SUV ready for adventure. Both great, both get you around. It just depends where you're headed.
Great analogy, and it emphasizes that point. There's no wrong answer, just different options to suit different needs. A good financial advisor, one who really knows the expat life, can be a huge help here. They can take a look at where you are, what you want to achieve, and guide you towards the solution that gives you that peace of mind we all want.
So it's about having that experienced co-pilot riding shotgun, someone who knows the route, someone who can help you navigate any unexpected detours.
You got it. Especially when it comes to life insurance as an expat, having that expert guidance can make all the difference. This is about protecting your family's financial well-being, no matter where in the world life takes you.
That's what it's all about, that peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that you've got that safety net no matter what life throws your way.
100%. And that feeling, that security, it's invaluable. Lets you focus on the good stuff, those new experiences, building a life you love, making memories with people you care about.
Couldn't have put it better myself. It's like having that solid foundation, then you can build whatever you want on top of it.
Exactly. And just like building a house, choosing the right life insurance, it takes planning, it takes thinking things through, and yeah, having someone with experience to guide you. It's not a decision to be taken lightly, but it's not as scary as it might seem either.
So true. And that's why I love having these conversations, taking the mystery out of finance, making those complex ideas easier to understand, and ultimately giving you the tools to make smart decisions about your future.
Couldn't agree more. Knowledge is power. And when it comes to your finances, the more you know, the better off you'll be. You'll be ready to create a life that's secure, fulfilling for you and your loved ones.
Well said. A huge thank you to our expert for joining us today, sharing all this incredible information.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive into the world of expat life insurance has given you a lot to think about. Remember, this is about being prepared, not panicked. So as you're out there embracing those exciting expat adventures, don't forget about your financial well-being. Talk to an expert, get the guidance you need, and enjoy the journey.